History remembers the great stand at Thermopylae and the naval triumph at Salamis, the Battle of Cunning. But the true final end of the Persian invasion came not by sea, nor in the shadow of a mountain pass, but upon the brutal open plains of Boeotia. Here at Plataea, the fate of Greece was decided once and for all. It was here that the land forces of Hellas, led by the fiercest army on earth, would finally claim their victory and their vengeance. It was the summer of 479 BC. The Persian king Xerxes had fled back to Asia after his fleet's destruction at Salamis, leaving behind his most trusted general, the confident and patient Mardonius, to finish what his king had begun. Mardonius, who had personally marched over the bodies of the Spartan dead at Thermopylae, held the fragmented Greeks in contempt. With him remained an army still vast and fearsome, over 120,000 men by some accounts, Persians, Medes, Bactrians, and Greeks from the north who had submitted to Persian rule. This was the hardened core of the Achaemenid Empire. Mardonius sought to use this force to prove that the loss at sea was a mere inconvenience, not a reversal of fate. Athens lay in ashes, having been burned to the ground twice. Mardonius, seeking to avoid a costly land battle, tried one last political maneuver. He sent envoys promising Athens peace, vast sums of wealth, and reconstruction if they abandoned Sparta and accepted Persian friendship. The temptation was immense. Athens was a ghost city. Her people were refugees. But they remembered the promise of Thermopylae. The Athenians answered Mardonius with scorn, sending the general a message that sealed the doom of the Persian army. "As long as the sun shall shine, we will never make peace with the Persians." This defiance forced Sparta's hand, and the Spartans now felt the need for vengeance burn in their bones. From every corner of Greece they came, converging at the Isthmus. Spartans, Corinthians, Megarians, Tegeans, and men from dozens of smaller city-states. This was the largest hoplite army ever assembled. The two great rivals, Athens and Sparta, stood shoulder to shoulder, a union forged by necessity. The command was given to the Spartan regent, Pausanias, the young nephew of the fallen Leonidas. His position was unique. He was a Spartan commanding a composite Greek army, carrying the immense pressure of avenging his uncle and the honor of his nation. Nearly 40,000 hoplites stood in formation, the bronze fist of Hellas. Their sheer number and commitment gave them a moral superiority that Mardonius could not match. Their purpose was singular: to meet Mardonius on the field and to reclaim the honor that had been lost when the Persian army marched south. The armies met on the plains near the city of Plataea, beneath the shadow of Mount Cithaeron. This was the open terrain Mardonius wanted, perfect for his massive cavalry. The Greeks, masters of the phalanx, wisely held to the rough high ground near the foothills, where Persian horsemen could not charge effectively. For 10 tense, agonizing days, neither side dared to fully commit. It was a war of supplies, a grueling test of patience. The Greeks knew the open field was death. Mardonius knew an uphill charge would be suicide. Mardonius chose to use his strength, the devastating Persian cavalry. They began to harass the Greeks' vital supply lines, poisoning their water sources and cutting off their food convoys. The great Mecistius, the cavalry commander, was slain in a skirmish, but the attrition continued. The Hellenic army, hungry and disorganized, was slowly being choked. Facing collapse from thirst and starvation, Pausanias ordered a risky, complex maneuver, a nighttime withdrawal to a better position closer to Plataea. But the movement turned chaotic and disastrous. In the deep darkness, the vast army stumbled. The Spartan contingent, delayed by a stubborn rearguard commander, lagged dangerously behind. The Athenians on the left flank were suddenly far ahead. Mardonius saw his moment when the sun rose on the disarrayed Greek line. He ordered an immediate, full-scale attack, aiming straight for the most isolated and feared enemy unit, the exposed Spartan flank. The vengeance he had denied Leonidas, he would now claim from Pausanias. From the Persian lines came a storm of arrows and the earth-shaking thunder of cavalry hooves. Mardonius himself rode at the front, confident that the disordered Greeks would crumble. But the Spartans held firm. Pausanias ordered his men into a solid phalanx, bronze shields locking, forming an impenetrable barrier. Wave after wave of Persian archers rained arrows upon them. Spartans fell, their discipline tested to its absolute limit, yet they stood unmoved, waiting for the order to charge. When the omens were finally declared favorable, a psychological command as much as a religious one, Pausanias gave the signal. The phalanx advanced. The clash was brutal. Persian wicker shields shattered like kindling against the sheer kinetic force of the advancing bronze wall. The Spartans' heavy dory spears drove deep into the lighter armor of the Persians. When the Persian fighters tried to break the spear shafts, the Spartans dropped the spears and drew their short, wicked Xiphos sword, the close-quarters weapon of vengeance. The fighting devolved into a chaotic personal melee. Mardonius, magnificent in his armor, led his personal guard in a desperate final counterattack. But the Spartan fury, fueled by the memory of Leonidas, was an unstoppable engine. In the heart of the battle, a Spartan warrior found his mark. The commander Mardonius, the last great hope of the Persian invasion, was struck down and killed. With their general dead, chaos ripped through the Persian ranks. What had been a disciplined host became a panicked mob, fleeing back to their fortified camp. The Greeks pressed their advantage. The Athenians overwhelmed the enemy on the left, while the Spartans and Tegeans breached the camp's palisade. The slaughter was total. The war was over. When the dust settled, the Greeks did not merely loot the spoils. They recognized the divine scale of their deliverance. On the very battlefield where Mardonius fell, the Hellenic allies raised a magnificent altar to Zeus Eleutherios, Zeus the Liberator. They swore oaths to defend their freedom forever. Plataea was the total, final vindication of the free Greek spirit. It was the land battle that secured the existence of the West, ensuring that the legacy of philosophy, art, and democracy, born from the ashes of war, would continue to shine brightly for all ages to come.